exchange rate system, which they just broken or knocked down on 2005, and Venezuela peg exchange rate system 2010, which they also the peg is broken. Look at the condition of Venezuela nowadays. There is so much political chaos right now. So, what if a country goes to Pega currency? Then there's going to be a currency board, which means a system of pegging the value of the local currency to some other specified currency. The board must maintain currency reserve for all the currency that it has printed. So normally all the world currencies are backed by gold or backed by some assurance, some guarantee. But when you peg a currency, so that country's currencies is backed by a collection of huge amount of foreign reserve of dollar. If you go for dollar, interest rate on of pegging currency is that interest rate will move in tandem with the interest rate of the currency to which it is tied, which means they have no control over its own interest rate. So when US interest rate rises, your home currency interest rate, home country's interest rate are also rises. Exchange rate risk of a pegging currency is that exchange rate, the currency is that is pegged to another currency cannot be pegged against all the currency. You must peg the currency with one currency. So if you are having a business with other countries, this is country 1, country 2, country 3, and your biggest business is with the country 1, and country 1 is also doing business with the US. If US rises, automatically your currency also rises. So maybe your business is hurt more with the pegging currency. So it means your financial policies, your exchange rate risk move as the pegging currency. All right. So peg exchange rate system. So we have these countries whose pegged to dollar. We have Bahamas, we have Barbados, we have Bermuda, we have Hong Kong. I think now they are converting it to managed floating exchange rate system. We have Latvia, we have Lithuania, we have Saudi Arabia. Now Saudi Arabia is also trying to avoid pegging exchange rate system, but still not successful yet. We have Tunisia, we have United Arab Emirates, we have Venezuela. All right. So many of the countries they experienced during this corona pandemic worse condition because of pegging. Now the dollarization. So before going into dollarization, let's take 5 minutes break and then we start again. So just going to give you a taste before going, for break. Dollarization is what if a country cannot manage its own currency, so why to print it? Why to have the currency? All right, just delete all its currency and accept one currency which is more stable one, that is dollar. So when a country says that okay, our currency is just finished, we don't print it, or just it is worthless, we will only deal internationally dollar plus local currency also will be used as a dollar for payments and purchases. It's like that. All right. So let's just discuss this concept after a 5 minutes break. Okay, class, welcome back after the break. So before break, we talked about the dollarization. So let's continue this concept here. So dollarization means replacement of a foreign currency with US dollar. So basically this process is a step beyond currency board because It forces the local currency to be replaced by dollar. So what is currency board? Currency board is used in pegging. So the board is basically decide which currency to peg, and the board basically keeps track the inventory of foreign currency to which it is pegged. Okay, so in this case we don't need any currency board because our local currency is totally eliminated. We replace this with dollar. We call this concept dollarization. So although dollarization and a currency board both attempt to peg the local currency's value, but the currency board does not replace the local currency with dollar. So the 100% pegging is done with dollarization, in which you just replace your currency with dollar. So you are at the mercy of dollar now. So the decision to use dollar as a local currency cannot be easily reversed because the currency is no longer has a local currency. So once you enter into this dollarization, it is very hard to reverse this decision, right? So now we see a single European monetary, a single European currency as well. So monetary policy in Eurozone. So for because in Eurozone we have different countries, we have Italy, we have France, we have Germany. All right. So rather having every country its own state bank, so they just standardize their currency and they call it euro. So euro is the currency for Eurozone, and the currency management is handled by European Bank. So Central European Bank, which is based in Frankfurt, and it is responsible for setting monetary policy for all the participants of the European country. So their objective is to control inflation in participating countries and to stabilize the value of euro with respect to major currencies. Although their independence is still there, but their monetary independence is not there. So they just base their all currency, they converted their currency into euro. So in which no single country is basically claiming euro or managing euro. There is a separate bank for that, European Central Bank, who is managing the movement or exchange rate of or value of euro. So it may be argued that set of countries with the same currency and monetary policy will achieve higher, greater economic stability than if each of the currency has its own currency and monetary policy. But reverse can also be done, like we have seen in Greece and Cyprus. So when Greek is going to bankrupt, all the European countries basically saved him. Why? Because if they let the Greek and Cyprus to bankrupt, then chances of the euro to devalue or depreciation going to be very high, and currency destabilization chances are very higher. So they just save the country from bankruptcy. So impact on the eurozone, impact of firms on the eurozone. So prices are more stable across European countries. So it means European countries now they can deal with each other without the intervention of a currency risk. What is the impact of financial flows in the eurozone? Because all the European countries agreed to one currency, so they eliminated the risk. So European countries euro become more stable. So in that case, the financial flow is more better and more stable as well. So bond investors who reside in the eurozone can invest now. Bond issued by Italy, bond issued by France, bond issued by Germany without the intervention of any currency exchange rate risk. All right. So exposure of countries within eurozone. So a single European monetary policy prevents any individual European countries from solving local economic problems. So there is also a drawback as well. If Italy faces a financial crisis, Italy alone cannot resolve it. Because if Italy try to disturb the supply or demand of euro, then other countries will intervene because their home currency is also euro. So any given monetary policy used in Eurozone during particular period may enhance condition in some countries and adversely affect others, because all the European countries' economic health is not the same. So some prosper very far, they're too prosperous if there is economic, you know, growth there. But if there is economic downturn here, so people will move from low economic growth countries to economic growth countries, and the effect gonna be worsen. All right. So impact of crisis within Eurozone. So it also may affect economic condition of the other participating countries because they all rely on the same currency and same monetary policy. So it means crisis will transfer from one European country to another, to another, to another. All right. So it means they share the same currency. Now let's talk about the real reasons why government intervened. Number one. So we talked about the categories of exchange rate systems. We talked about, you know, the fixed exchange rate system, freely floating, managed, and pegging, and then learn the concept of dollarization. In all those stuff, we talked about the role of governments. So first primary reason for government intervention in foreign exchange market is to smooth exchange rate system, because countries currency stability attract more foreign funding. All right. Then establish implicit exchange rate boundaries, not explicit, which means it is not written agreement anywhere else, or you don't sign some agreement. Okay, you need to control your home currency 2% above or 2% below. No, implicit exchange rate boundary. So some central banks attempt to maintain their home currency within some unofficial boundaries. If the boundaries have been, if boundary rules have been violated or crossed, then they intervene the market and bring back the currency to its normal boundaries. Respond to temporary disturbance is that a central bank may intervene to insulate currency value from a temporary disturbance. So basically, this is the benefit of having managed floating rate system, where governments are needed when something happens, something temporary disturbance happen for permanent disturbance, to protect permanent disturbance. So let's talk about the government interventions types, which is very important. So here, to force dollar to depreciate. So remember, we are following here the book perspective with the US perspective. So please understand that whenever you read the material, understand you are a US citizen, then it will be more easy for you to understand their policies, and you can implement to your own business, and even to make understand the all the strategies or the concepts applying to the international financial environment. All right. To force the dollar to depreciate, Fed means the central bank. Their central bank is Federal Reserve, so we call this Fed. So the Fed can intervene directly by exchanging dollars that it holds as a reserve for the other foreign currencies in the foreign exchange market. What happened here? For example, US versus China. So if US wants is dollar value to depreciate, so what it will do, it will start buying yuan. So it means buying yuan means it creates a demand for yuan. So when demand for yuan increases let's put that supply.